Day 2 of the draft in the books. Lucky to be joined now by head coach Vic Fangio and John Elway. John, first let's start with you. Last night we saw reports that you explored the opportunity to possibly trade, maybe move back into the first round. Tonight, you guys hold firm again. How much opportunity was there to move up or down?
Well, we had some opportunities. We explored all the options. That's what we can do, is explore the options, look at the possibilities, see which teams are willing to come up or go back. And I think that we felt good where we were. Like I said, it's a matter of, you get to the time, you just have to say whether you want to go up or not, or whether, and use some draft capital to be able to get up. But we held firm where we were, and, we're excited about the players that we did get.
Coach, we saw the call with KJ. You said your Pennsylvania relatives were pounding the proverbial table for him. What about KJ's game convinced you that your family was onto something?
His speed and his elusiveness. He runs good routes. I think he's very hard to cover in a one-on-one situation. And once he gets the ball in his hand, he can be pretty electric and turn a short pass into a long gain, or get behind the defense and catch a long pass. So he's not just a fast, quick speed guy. He can get deep too and run a good route too in the intermediate area. And he's hard. He's going to be hard to cover.
John, last night you and Coach Fangio mentioned guarding against forcing a pick based on need and taking the best player available. Was KJ just a case of, value and the best player available just kind of converging at once?
Well, I think we had our eye on him from the get-go also, and so knew how explosive he was, the explosive speed that he has. And so he was a target from us. When we go into this draft, you try to look at, ideal people that you'd like to have. The thing is, he's so explosive, as Vic said, so explosive, does a good job running routes. He's tough. He's a returner. And, you can tell how tough a guy is when he's back to running a kickoff, and he's at 100 miles an hour when he hits the 20, 25-yard line and going through the blocks that they have up front. And so I think that the toughness that he shows at his size is something that really sold us.
Coach, I know you preach fundamental tackling, but what are some of the attributes you feel Michael O.J. Mudia will make him a productive pro?
Well, he showed in college tape that he is a good tackler, and looked to me like he enjoyed tackling. So that's always important. And I think his instincts for playing the game will help him be a good pro. I think he's got good intelligence, innate intelligence, got good football intelligence. And he's a guy that, if ever need be, you look to me on tape that he could be versatile and possibly play the nickel position, or even at some point, if we need it in a pinch, to play safety. So I think we're getting a good football player, but hopefully that will primarily be a corner for us.
John, we heard a lot about getting good value at the center position and interior line on day 2, but the starting center from the national championship team in Lloyd Cushenberry, were you surprised to see him there in the 3rd round?
It really doesn't surprise me to see anything anymore, and so you never know how things are going to fall. And so obviously there's some good centers there, but Lloyd was a target for us, and with him playing, as you said, on the national championship, the athleticism that he has, the length that he has a gift character guy, another quality person. And so we're thrilled to get him because he can play guard and center, and think that, he's still young, but in his upside, he's got a tremendous upside, very athletic. And so, again, the board fell well for us in that situation, and we're thrilled to get Lloyd.
Coach, what types of challenges does a guy like Lloyd face trying to go from starting center in college to, starting center in the pros?
Well, number one, just the physical demands. He's going to be going against better players week in and week out. A lot of times these good college players go against players half the time or more that, aren't as good as them, and they have an easy time. Well, that's not the case in the NFL. So he's going to be challenged each and every day in practice, and then obviously in the game. So just kicking your game up to the higher level of competition is job number one. And then he's going to have to learn more, probably learn more than he had to at LSU from a schematic standpoint. So it's a big adjustment for those guys, especially in the offensive line.
John, McTelvin, a team captain, a 4-year starter, he seems to fit that strong leadership mold that you had referenced in previous press conferences. What did you like about his skill set and what he brings to the table?
Well, I mean, I was attracted to his athleticism. We had mentioned it. We were going through our mocks the other day, and we had mentioned him as being a possibility in the 3rd and 4th round. And so, I mean, but his athleticism, his quickness off the football, and, ability to rush the passer, and I think that, the ability to get to an edge, but also being that athletic, being 309 pounds and running 5 flat. So he was able to rush the passer. Now, as Vic said earlier, he's got a long way to go. There's still some things he's got to learn how to anchor and learn how to take some double teams. But we felt like there's a guy that maybe if he's not ready next year really has a lot of potential to get a lot better. And if he can learn how to anchor, he's got the ability to be able to rush the passer. And so we'd rather work backwards than try to work the other way. And so with him having that ability, we're thrilled that he was still there and we're able to get him in the bottom of the 3rd.
We know it's a busy weekend, so this will be the last question for both of you. Coach, I'll start with you. How important are day 3 guys to good football teams in the NFL?
Well, initially, you're just looking to fill out the depth of your team, the bottom of the roster. But as we all know, every so often, some of these guys turn into be really good players. The percentages say they don't, but it's not 100%. And as we all know, some of these guys develop. Maybe they're picked in the 4th round or later for various reasons, late developers, injury, program they were in may not have fit them good, the scheme, whatever. So there's always good players to be found. Your chances aren't as high as the other rounds, obviously, but these guys end up making your team.
John, how much value do you feel like is left on day 3? We're finally coming towards the finish line here, and we still have a lot of picks left on the board.
Well, obviously there's still a lot of guys on the draft board, and it's our job to try to find. And as Vic said, these guys can add quality depth for you, and then every once in a while you find a needle in a haystack, and so that's what we're looking for. And so we're looking for some edge that each player may have, athleticism, speed, whatnot, that can help your football team, and maybe not this next year, but maybe a year or two down the line where they have a chance to develop it. So that's the game on the personnel side that is the fun game, is to be able to try to find these guys that can turn into football players coming, within the next 2, 3, 4 years. And so if we can do that on the personnel side, we've done our job.
Well, I know it's going to be a busy day 3. We appreciate you guys taking some time. Best of luck with the rest of the draft.
Thank you.
Thank you.